Thanks for joining me for the second half of this lesson. If you haven't seen the first part of the video yet, you might have a better context if you go watch that first. Otherwise, let's jump into some terminology. Now, in addition to the concepts you've learned, there are a ton of terms that you'll hear when talking about AI. There are actually too many to cover in a single video, but I'll cover the appropriate terms as they're encountered in future courses. However, you should be familiar with some specific terms related to how AI learns. And the first term I want you to be aware of is algorithms. An algorithm is a set of instructions that a computer follows to solve a problem or complete a task. It's like a recipe for your favorite dish, but instead of using ingredients and cooking techniques, an algorithm uses mathematical formulas and logical steps to get the desired output. In AI, algorithms are used to analyze data, make predictions, and learn from experience. For example, an algorithm might be used to recognize patterns in images or speech, or make predictions about future events. It can classify data into different categories or even optimize complex systems. AI algorithms are really the brains behind artificial intelligence. They help computers do amazing things from translating languages to driving cars. But an algorithm is only effective if it's given data. So much data. But it has to be quality data. Garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage in, garbage out.
These groups of data are called datasets. And a dataset is basically a collection of information that's used to train and test an algorithm. It's like a big folder full of files, each containing information about a specific topic or concept. In AI, datasets are like college libraries that are used to teach algorithms what to look for, how to recognize patterns, and how to make predictions. The data can be structured or unstructured, meaning it can be organized in specific ways, like colors, shapes, types, etc. Or just a collection of related but unorganized data, like a kid cleaning his room by just throwing everything into one place, typically under the bed. For example, a data set could be a collection of images of cats and dogs with labels indicating which is which. Or a data set of customer purchase history with information about what a person bought, when they bought it, and where they purchased it from. Or a data set of sensor readings from a weather station with information about date, time, temperature, humidity, and wind speed. Once you've got an algorithm and some good data, you can start training the algorithm. And this is the process of using the data set to teach the algorithm how to perform its specific task. It's like taking a new employee to an onboarding session where they learn the ins and outs of the job that they'll be doing. But here's the most important concept. During training, once the data set is fed into the algorithm, it processes the data along with feedback. The algorithm adjusts its parameters and weights them based on the feedback, and it does this to minimize the errors between its predictions and the actual output it was supposed to respond with. This feedback loop allows AI to learn and improve its performance. Using this rinse and repeat cycle, the algorithm gets better and better at making predictions or completing tasks. On the current popular AI models, this process is repeated trillions, even quadrillions of time before that model is released to the public. Now, when AI is being trained, there are two types of learning that it can experience. I want to take a minute just to talk about those because this data training loop is really the crux of how AI gets its intelligence. We have supervised learning and unsupervised learning. In supervised learning, we give the computer both the question and the answer during training. It's like a teacher helping you to identify dogs and cats. The teacher shows you a picture of a dog and says, "This is a dog." Then they show you a picture of a cat and say, "This is a cat." If you repeat this enough, eventually you'll learn to tell dogs and cats apart on your own. And this is really the way the computer is learning. We give it enough labeled examples, like a dog or a cat, and it learns to recognize patterns on its own. Later, when it sees a new picture, it can guess whether it is a dog or a cat. We use this type of training to teach a computer how to read handwriting, or make a spam filter for emails, or to predict weather based on past data. Unsupervised learning is when we only give the computer data without any labels or answers. Remember in the last video we had our C-3PO robot friend that sorted Halloween candy based on what we liked? That was actually an example of supervised learning. We gave it candy, we told it what we liked, and then told it when it was wrong. Unsupervised learning would be like dumping out all of your Halloween candy and asking it to sort it, but not telling it how. It might group chocolates together or put all the fruit candy in another pile. It may make separate groups for chewy candy and hard candy. It would find a way to organize it on its own based on what made sense to the algorithm. That's what the computer does in unsupervised learning. It looks for patterns and similarities without being told what to look for. Computers are really good at finding patterns that even humans miss. It might be pretty easy for you to think of 5 or 10 different variations on how to sort that candy, but what if you had to come up with 100 or 200 different ways? AI would do this in fractions of a second. It would present you options that you'd never even considered, and this is the real power of unsupervised learning. It's used in grouping customers with similar shopping habits or finding common themes in a bunch of social media posts beyond the hashtags, or detecting unusual bank transactions that might be fraud. Okay, so now you know how AI learns stuff, right? Well, after it's done learning, it needs to use what it learned in the real world. Think of it like this. Inference is when an AI takes what it learned and uses it to figure out new things that it hasn't seen before. It's like when you learn math in class and then use it to solve new problems you haven't seen in your homework. Or like a football team. Practice during the week would be like the learning phase where they go through the other team's plays and strategies. Inference would be game day where the team now has to use what they learned during the week to win. If they practiced enough and had the right game plan, then they'll do great in the game. And the same with AI. If it learned well, it will do awesome with new stuff. Inference is how AI recognizes pictures. It can look at a new photo and tell you what's in it. It's like how your phone knows which pictures have your friends in them. It's also how it understands how people feel inside of text. AI can read messages and guess if the person is happy, sad, or angry. And this is tricky because words and tone alone are difficult to communicate when they're not spoken. That's why people use so many emojis or type in all caps to scream. It's also what suggests stuff you might like. Have you ever noticed how Netflix or YouTube seem to know what videos you want to watch next? That's AI using what it learned about you to guess what you'll enjoy. Inference is where AI gets to show off its smarts. It takes everything it learned and uses it to handle new, real-life situations. That's pretty cool, right? Virtual assistants like Siri, Google Assistant, and Alexa use Inference to be your personal AI butlers. They're always ready to help, whether you need to set a reminder, send a message, or even control your smart home. These AI-powered helpers are constantly getting smarter, learning your preferences and routines to serve you better. Have you ever wondered how Amazon suggests products you didn't even know you needed, like shower hair catchers so your wife's loose hair doesn't stick to the wall of the shower? A friend told me his wife needed it. That's AI working behind the scenes, analyzing your views, shopping habits, and making personalized suggestions. And don't forget about self-driving cars. They're no longer science fiction. Companies like Tesla and Waymo, that's the Google self-driving car project, they're using AI to create vehicles that can navigate roads, recognize objects, and make split-second decisions. It's like giving cars their own eyes and brain, allowing them to see and think about the world around them. What about those ads on Facebook or Instagram that seem to know exactly what you're interested in? That's AI at work too. AI analyzes your behavior, your interests, and even your friends' activities to show you ads that it thinks you're more likely to engage with. These are just a few examples of how AI is quietly redefining our everyday life, making things more convenient, personalized, and efficient. And the best part, or the scary part, depending on how you like to look at it, this is just the beginning. AI needs data like we need caffeine. But where's all this data coming from? Yeah, you guessed it. It's us. Just say, "Hey Siri," or "Okay Google." Our phones, smart homes, and even our toasters are collecting and sharing details about our lives. The million-dollar question is, how do we enjoy smart tech without feeling like we're in a digital fishbowl? I don't have a good answer for you because these are the exact questions that are currently being discussed every day by individuals, companies, and even governments. Your opinion right now will help shape future regulations. Now, you might think that when AI is involved, it's always neutral, an unbiased judge, but here's the surprise. surprise. Even AI can have biases. It turns out AI can sometimes be as biased as your Uncle Bob at Thanksgiving dinner. But here's the thing, AI learns from data, right? Well, if the data contains human biases or doesn't represent everyone equally, the AI will pick up on that and it will amplify those biases. It's like the old saying we had, garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Imagine an AI system for hiring that's trained on data from a company where most of the managers are men. It might start favoring male candidates for management positions, even though that's not what we want. Or think about facial recognition software that works better for some ethnicities than for others, simply because the training data didn't include enough diversity. Even recommendation systems, like the ones suggesting your next movie on Netflix, or the ones that respond to the articles you want to read on your search engine. Those sometimes reinforce existing preferences instead of showing you new or diverse options. The tricky part, AI doesn't even know it's being biased. It's just following the patterns of the data we've given it. That's why it's so important for humans like you and me to stay involved. We need to carefully choose the data we use to train AI, design the algorithms thoughtfully, and then always be on the lookout for unfair results. Bias in AI is like digital spinach in your teeth. Embarrassing and something we need to fix as ASAP as possible. But the good news is, once we know about it, we can work on solving it. That's where your life experiences and sense of fairness come in handy. By being aware of the issues, you can help ensure that AI systems in your workplace or community are being used responsibly and fairly. Remember, AI is a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how well we use it. Now, sometimes it might seem like AI has all the answers, even if some of them are opinionated, but it doesn't. And the troubling thing is, many times when it doesn't know the answer, it just improvises with the best guess. Remember when we talked about inference? That's what's happening. Sometimes AI can confidently spout nonsense that sounds totally legit, but it's not. In AI, this is called a hallucination. It's like that friend who always has a fact for everything, but they really just made something up on the spot. Except your AI friend can write essays and create images at lightning speed. And the takeaway? Caveat emptor, let the buyer beware.
It's Latin for let the buyer beware.
Finally, responsible AI development. It's not just about making AI smart, it's about making it wise. We need to ask not just can we build it, but should we build it and how should we build it? It's about creating AI that's not just a brainiac, but also a good digital citizen. Here's the kicker. These aren't just tech headaches. They're human puzzles waiting for human solutions. And that's where you come in, with your years of experience and your finely tuned BS detector. As AI becomes your new coworker, you've got the power and, the responsibility to keep it in check. Channel your inner Peter Parker. Ask questions, stay curious, and help steer your workplace towards AI that's not just smart, but also fair and trustworthy. The future of AI isn't locked in. It's a choose-your-own adventure, and you've got a starring role. Are you ready to help write the next chapter? Before we end, I want to quickly summarize what we've discussed. AI is not just about robots and flying cars. It's about making your job easier and more effective. From machine learning that predicts trends to natural language processing that understands human speech, AI is like a Swiss Army knife for the modern professional. We've explored key concepts like supervised and unsupervised learning. We've talked about generative AI that can create content, including a glimpse at technologies like GPT. We also discussed how transfer learning helps AI models learn incredibly fast and super efficiently. This is just the tip of the iceberg. In future videos, we'll dive deeper into these concepts and introduce hands-on learning where you'll be introduced to even more fascinating aspects of AI. But for now, I think you've got a solid foundation to build upon. And remember, if you're willing to adapt, AI isn't here to replace you. It's here to supercharge you. Your experience, your wisdom, and your human touch are the secret sauce that can make AI truly powerful. Sure, there are challenges, privacy, bias, even AI hallucinations, but that's where you come in. Your job, to be the captain that's steering this AI ship towards innovation and responsibility. So whether you're a tech newbie or a digital native, there's a place for you in the AI revolution. It's not about age, it's about attitude. The future of work's a partnership partnership between humans and artificial intelligence. And guess what? You're exactly the partner that AI needs. So are you ready to shape the future? If so, visit over50.ai and join our free community. It's where wisdom isn't just welcome, it's required.